Welcome to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your host, George.
Gabe.
And our very special guest today, our good friend,
Jeremy.
And
his guitar.
That's right.
I don't think I have a name for it.
You don't?
Actually, I think I call it like the White Knight because of
because it smashes through.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool. You have that in the back.
It has a little engraved
Honestly, what are those things?
So this is like a tremolo, so it allows me to control how much of the bridge I want to bend upwards or down.
Dude, I saw that at the back. I thought it was like the batteries were like the Rock Band guitar goes. I was like, bro, are you playing an actual guitar?
He plays a Rock Band guitar.
I play a Rock Band guitar.
He formatted he retrofitted
he retrofitted a Rock Band.
It's not me on stage. Guitar. I just put all the MIDI notes and it plays it for me.
Nice.
So, I'm always on.
So you have a chart that like tells you what notes to play and you just play along?
Basically, I go on YouTube and find those little like piano things.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, man.
How many guitars do you own?
Do I know how to play guitar?
20, 25?
25? Guitars?
Guitars.
He just said that he owns 25 guitars.
Wait, no, what? There's no way.
Yeah. So I've
25?
I've been collecting them since I think when we were in high school. I had like 3 or 4. That were my main ones, and then each one has a different sound, a different soul, a different kind of vibe to it.
I don't even have that many lightsabers.
25? Not yet. 25?
Not yet.
That's incredibly
I wouldn't know
impressive. Where do you put them?
Yeah.
Well, some of them I've cycled them through. Like I have a little place in my house where I have the ones that I use quite often. That houses like 5 or 6 of them, and then the rest of them, as time goes by, I kind of retire them, but then I'll get sentimental and bring them out, and then
you retire them where?
In a storage unit.
Oh, so you literally have like a guitar.
I have a guitar storage unit, and that has amps, bass, drum.
Do you want to sell any of those to me?
I mean, we can look into that.
I know they're all your babies, but I kind of want to pick up guitar again.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
That's great. 25.
I've actually been meaning to learn guitar. Is it too late for me to learn guitar?
It's never too late to pick up an instrument.
My goal is like at 40.
I think it's just
I'm busy this year.
I think
but
it's
when
just
I turn
time.
40.
Yeah, it's just, the discipline of putting in the time.
Yeah. I got a big show that I'm producing for April.
Paul White?
I got the big show. Yeah, he's coming over. We're doing a sitcom for Netflix.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Season 2.
Oh, big show.
Yeah, the big show, the go home big show. If you want, I got a big show that I'm producing for April 2024. That's next year, right? Can't keep track.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, hopefully this episode goes out in 2023.
Episode goes out in 2024.
2024.
Really sad on
and then
one.
that summer, I want to start learning to play guitar.
What's the show? Is it under wraps? Is it like top secret?
No, it's not top secret. I can say it, but if it doesn't happen, it's somebody else's fault. So I'm putting that out there right now.
Okay. We'll cut this segment out.
Yeah, no, we're gonna leave it in, and I'm just know it wasn't my fault. Something happened, maybe another global pandemic or something. But gonna watch. I'm planning to produce a live performance of Beauty and the Beast next year. So that's like a whole year-long project.
You're getting Emma Watson?
That'll be great.
No, I don't think I'm getting. I
You're
think I
gonna
have
get
my
Emma
own
Watson?
original cast. I don't
Oh
think
my
we're.
goodness.
Why would it be the movie version?
Because it's Emma Watson.
It's Emma
There's an
Watson.
excuse to get
Yeah,
Emma Watson.
do you really need?
You're gonna pull away from her activism
Yeah, man.
to get into this high
for her
school
to
show.
do like a one night only in Miami, Florida.
No, she's not even gonna act in it. She's just gonna come. She's just gonna watch.
She's gonna watch and
But
listen.
then
She's just invited
Yeah.
to the performance.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was wondering what happened to the stopwatch, by the way. So.
I think he posted something, but
Oh, okay. Anyways,
I couldn't read.
So a couple of weeks there with a good track record with the stopwatch.
I know, right? We were doing so well. So age 40, I think is that a
Age
realistic
40.
goal? So
Yeah.
if you're still in Miami, maybe you can help me out with that.
For sure.
Yeah, I got this one kid that wants to teach me, but like he's probably gonna go off to college. Well, you're not supposed. I don't think. I think I purposely didn't say his name.
Oh, no.
It's okay. I couldn't really make it out, so I don't think you probably hear it.
I forgot that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Everyone
We're recording
rewind it
everything.
right
We'll beep it out.
Yeah,
like,
it's okay. You probably graduated by now in 2024 when this episode is out.
Yeah.
I'm already 40 actually when this episode drops. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeremy. What drives you?
What drives me? I guess my passion for. Well, my name's Jeremy.
Yeah, we got that.
My passion for music and how you can create from nothing, just like expressing your emotions and feelings. And, you know, there's different interpretations when at least creating music that, you know, I might feel very sad about something, but somebody else will interpret that in a different way and it'll mean something different to them. So it's very ambiguous, but at the end of the day, it speaks to us at our core emotionally.
How long have you been?
That was a good outro. I think we should just leave
Yeah,
it
we
there.
just
That was pretty good.
sell this one to Tubi again. Tubi. That's not Tubi. It's
Quibi.
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 That was kind of dumb to make two services that sound almost exactly the same.
Who is Tubi?
Tubi's like a over air streaming. I don't know.
Is that like the Roku? Like
Something like that.
The Tubi
It's
channel.
not a device, but it's like that. Yeah, like it has multiple channels.
You think the British call it
Tubi.
Tubi?
Tubi.
Yeah, I think so.
It's Tubi, isn't it?
How long have you been in the music scene, so to speak?
I've been playing for 14 years now. Started in high school, actually middle school into high school. Somebody gave me a Beatles chord book, and that was about it.
I'm sorry, you said a chord
Chord
book?
book.
Okay.
Yeah, music book.
Right. Okay.
It's actually pretty interesting. I've known Jeremy kind of my entire life.
Is that true?
Since we're like 4, right?
Yeah, dude. I still remember your 3rd birthday at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's like almost more than 20 years, you know, of knowing Jeremy and going to the same school for the most part.
Yeah.
And seeing, like, I remember when Jeremy started playing music. I remember Jeremy had like the long, like he still had the long hair, but he had the long skater hair and everything. But if there's one thing over the years I can't say about Jeremy is that like the discipline and like the love and this like that he put into like learning music and just making music is actually like really admirable. And I think like that's like, you know, a really good quality that you have. It's like whatever like you put your mind to, you really like stuck with it and you got really good, like really good. And it's like, you know, I mean, even talking about this episode, I think is like, you know, who's someone that like, I think when we were planning this episode, it's like who's something that we, you know, is really like, you know, well versed in like either like knowing about music, but also making music and also like creating. And I think Jeremy was the top of the list on that one.
Yeah. We've been wanting to talk about music for a long time, and we like sneak in little bits here, an album drop here or there, but we felt ill-equipped to tackle the topic holistically because we love music, we interface with music, we listen and experience it, but it's almost like another language. You know, I'm really big on language, verbal, linguistic, English specifically, you know, and it's like I like to think that I connect with language in a way that most people don't, like the ins and outs of it and the mechanical nature of it. And music is like a foreign language, one that I can haphazardly speak, maybe probably as good as my Spanish, but one that I don't know. I don't speak it fluently. So it's like I can appreciate it, but not to the level of like composition and artistry that I think you provide a much deeper insight into. How did you first get into music? How did you get drawn to the world of music? And that's such a vague, like, general music, but
well, I feel like it was always there. Like I remember when I was young, my parents they gifted me a marimba from Nicaragua. So I kind of started figuring out how things worked on there, and then they got me.
That's like that instrument on the iPhone, like the ringtones?
Yeah. So it's the wooden blocks that you play with 2 sticks on one hand and one on the other. It's kind of like a keyboard. Mm-hmm. That's how I always compared it. So it was always...
That was your first instrument?
That was the first instrument. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew it made cool noises.
Right.
Sorry about that. And
you don't have to apologize. Our producer just cuts out any of the errant punching of the microphone.
Also, I do it every week, so I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. Link literally tells guests, like, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. That's easy. And then just like producer Dan pulling out his hair in the middle of the night.
Why did he punch it? But no, yeah. So then there's pictures that go back to me having like a little ukulele, and you know, First Act I think was coming out when I was 4 or 5. So they bought me the little guitar with the microphone and the amp.
I'm sorry. What does that mean?
First Act is basically a kid's version of all the instruments.
Yeah, kids like instrument set.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like they have First Act, my first guitar, my first uke.
Interesting.
And it gives you, you know, it wasn't as big as it is now, and it didn't bring all the information. It just brought a guitar, an amp, and a cable. That's it.
So it's just like go.
Yeah,
learn.
Yeah, figure out what you can do with that.
Interesting.
Then I kind of stopped a little bit. I want to say through elementary and middle school because my dad loved soccer, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to relate to my dad a bit more. So
got into the gang lifestyle and got a couple of tats. Did some time.
Yeah, man, some hard time.
But then eventually,
somebody gifted me the Beatles chord book, and it was off to races. It was like I kind of found my voice that I couldn't find anywhere else, and I haven't stopped since.
Yeah, I was like the inverse of that. Because I remember growing up, we had band.
You went to jail first, and then you picked up a guitar.
Yeah, the tats were on, and then they came off.
Yeah.
Where we were in band. We were in band together.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, right. And I played like a bunch of different instruments. I remember different times. Like I think my first one was like violin, and then I got the hang of that, and then because I did lessons for that, and then when I went to school, they didn't need a violin, or they didn't like have space for it. I don't know what it was.
I think you said they didn't like violin. They're just like, we made you learn this, and we don't.
No, it's because I had two other friends who were like gifted. Like they eventually left to go play that. Like got scholarships for that. So it was just like, okay, I guess I'm not
third amigo.
Yeah. So I ended up going to clarinet, and then I played trumpet, saxophone, clarinet, bass clarinet, and then there was another one. I forgot what it was, but it was kind of like the inverse effect where it was like. I kind of started off with the instruments, and then I found sport, and then soccer ended up just taking over. I never really went back to music, unfortunately.
Because you only have time for so much stuff, right?
Yeah. But it is one of the things that it's like I do kind of regret a bit because you said like music is a language, especially like learning like languages like that.
Yeah.
Is easier when you're a kid, and it's like you absorb more, and you definitely learn a lot more. And I don't know, you can attest to this probably. It's like music definitely changes the way that you see. The world, but also like how you learn and how you interpret things, I feel like.
Yeah, I do feel, I've recently gone on a weird wave, I would call it, of exploring foreign music.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the lyrics are, but the emotion still connects.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely tell, hey, this is a sad song. This is, something it came from within someone and a very special place. So it does give you that benefit where it's, even if you don't speak the language that the lyrics are singing, you do connect to it universally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. It's like so eloquently put. I think it's just like it's more than just the words, and I think music is like the beautiful composition of, words with, what's the word? Music, but what's a more kind of like stripped down version of saying that? Notes,
clearly I don't
beats,
have the answer. Melody,
exactly, things strung together to make art, and I feel
I
like,
guess that notes. I guess it's just the notes because it's funny when we think about ideas, right? We don't usually think about words, but if we do think about words, we don't think about letters.
Yeah,
and ultimately everything at its base is this table, right? On a subatomic level, we don't think about the building blocks of those things, and really, songs are just a bunch of notes. It's just a bunch of notes strung together to create something that didn't exist before that creation began. And it's an amazing process.
No, it's incredible. Like the more you look into it, it's like, just talking about it, because it's something I don't really think about, I just enjoy music because it's like, I don't have that like outlook, to really understand chords or like how this like piece comes together. I just, I don't really know what's happening. I'm just enjoying. I'm there for the ride. And I think it must be so interesting. Like when you hear like a beautiful piece of music and you really understand what goes into that, I feel like that just makes it even more satisfying.
Yeah. It's like, there's that famous saying, like, I don't know art, but I know what I like.
Yeah.
And I always think that that's such a stupid saying, but also when it comes to music, that's me. Like, I don't know music, but I know what I like. And I've always been told, and I've always believed, like, I have a good ear, like, to say, like, oh, this is good. Like, this is going to be successful, or this is, like, this is different and unique, even in genres like in pop.
Should have just been a music producer, man.
Right, because a lot of music producers, even though many music producers are way more talented than we give them credit for, and it's like amazing, and they understand music on that composition level. But some of them are just like, you're good, you're bad. Like, those are probably the ones that start off with money instead of earn their way through music. But like, I have that appreciation for it. I started playing piano. I was forced to play piano at a really young age, and I played it like all through elementary and high school. And I feel like I have like a middle school education because in high school I didn't take it seriously. and it was just like all reps and drills and the same stuff over and over again. And I never really took it to the next level, and that's why I became bored with it. And I abandoned it once I like all my decisions were my decisions as an adult, and I regret it so much because like what you said, you kind of find your other passions. For me, it was writing. For me, it was theater, which I kind of sidelined for a little bit. I taught a couple of classes here and there, but for the most part, now that I teach it in school, like I've got passion for the theatrical arts. But I didn't have a musical theater background, which is very rare. Usually, musical theater is like the backbone, but I worked on a lot of straight dramas. Again, like I said, linguistics is my first language. It's like a lot of talkies. But man, I regret not following music because now like we're getting into musical theater and it's like I'm lost. I need a lot of like guest lecture, guest instructors, a lot of resources to kind of offset. Our first musical that we did 21 Chump Street, right? A 15-minute musical. Actually, you helped us out on it.
I did play bass.
Both times?
Both times.
Both times, that's right. So a couple years ago, the first time I had no idea what I was doing. And it was like the kids like, you're musical, you're in charge because I don't know what's going on. But I had, you and a handful of like really talented individuals who are willing to give back to, community theater and school theater. And I really greatly appreciate that. And that gave the students and myself the confidence to kind of like embark on this year-long process of creating a long form, hour plus length production, with musical, because I'm scared because I don't sing, and I don't play. And it takes a village, and it's really going to take a village. All to say that I wish I would have dedicated a little more time and kept that as part of my repertoire. Maybe if I wouldn't have like met the love of my life so young, I would have needed it like to pick up girls, because that definitely, that was something I was really interested. But once I got to kind of figure that out.
That is a very big myth.
Well, okay, maybe you can give us a little more insight on that later. But some of our favorite genres, and when we think about music, I always, when I connect with someone, I usually try to get an idea of what music they're into. Do you do this? I don't know.
Well, funny enough, I had not done this before, but I recently met a friend, and I don't know how the conversation came about. They were looking for music, and I was like, I have a couple songs, so I'm going to send you a playlist of like 100 songs that I like that really...
A couple songs, you said?
Yeah, a couple songs.
I got 100, 130
I got
songs.
a couple guitars, just throw them in the back.
25.
I thought that was like a good, decent number. Like as soon as I started building it, I was going to do maybe 30, and then I was like, oh no, but this one and this one. So it just kind of kept growing, and I was like, I'm going to leave it at 100. So I sent it to her, and she's like, okay, I got my playlist. I'm going to send it over in a couple days once I'm done. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. She sends me back, I want to say it was 720 songs.
Whoa.
So
like right away she had it ready already?
720 songs?
720 songs. And then
and she texted them each individually. It wasn't even a playlist. She was just like, 1, check this one out. 2, this one's good too. 3, I really like this one. Here are my top 500 in order.
That would have been horrible. No, luckily she sent it in a Spotify playlist. Okay. So
you're a Spotify person?
I have both.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Well, because I started with Spotify when it first kind of came out. So I most of my music was there, and then I tried Apple Music, and then they bundled it up all together. So I was like, oh, might as well just keep both, and I'll listen.
They're both part of like a different bundle. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Interesting. So, anyways, going back to your 720.
Yeah, so 720, it was like 58 hours. And I was like, I did not know that you were going to go that in. Okay. So I bumped mine up.
Tell me you escalated.
I escalated. I think right now the playlist is around 965 songs with 68 hours or almost 70 hours that I sent her. She added a couple more, so it's at 885.
Okay, what are the rules of this playlist? Like
whatever you like that, meant something to you while you were growing up.
Do I know 500?
And okay, because this is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out if I can do this. Are they all individual artists? Like, do you have repeat artists?
So so like we can have multiple songs of one artist. Mm-hmm. There's no rules.
You mean this isn't their entire discography?
Okay, so like for example, are there limitations? You said that you fell in love with the Beatles. Me too. I had the Miracle Piano program for my PC, and it taught me in my life.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it taught me. What was the other one? It's all the sad ones.
Long and Winding Road.
Eleanor Rigby.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, these were on the Miracle Piano. So then, what my first like piano notebook was the Beatles, and it was like the greatest hits, and that was one of the earliest albums. I don't know if it was the first album I listened to. It was one of the earliest albums I remember. Like, actually, it was your dad's compilation. Yeah, old Beatles songs.
My dad likes the Beatles.
Yeah, your dad liked the Beatles at some point. I know he tried to like, why are you listening to that later on? And it was like, what? They're your albums.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, he had the Apple recordings, and it was like the red, like it's like 3 discs, and it's basically like all the hits from that specific like year set, because there's another blue set that goes along with it. That's the later years. So for me, the Beatles was like that first half of their career.
I had no idea he actually.
I think that got all the way to Revolver.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy,
right? I discovered the other Beatles later.
No, because it's just such a like interesting thing where it's like I feel like a lot of the like the things that I enjoy, like I got from my dad, but one of them, I think it was just music. Music was always that one that like music was the one where like I discovered myself. Like I had to go out of my way to find. I remember when we were younger, we were going to school, and I remember Dream On by Aerosmith comes on the radio, and I'm over there singing in the back, and I was like, what, elementary, middle school? Mm-hmm. And then you were driving us to school, and then you hear me singing, you're like, you know this song? And I'm like, yeah, like it was in a movie. It was Miracle. It was at the end of Miracle, the hockey movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
And that was like the story of like me finding music. Was either it was in movies, was it like on TV? How I discovered Queen was it was an episode of Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
It was
wow, that just unlocked a memory.
Yeah, like it was like an episode where they're like
achievement.
They're just they're like all stuck at home, and then one of them starts, getting everyone together. It's like a group activity, and they're singing "We Will Rock You." And I remember I got a VHS. This is before like you can stop and like record stuff. Uh-huh. So like I got a VHS. I didn't know what was on it. I stuck it in, and I did the replay thing, and I like recorded that onto the VHS. So like because it was one of those things like I want to watch this again. And then there was no Shazam at the time. There wasn't that. So I had to like listen to the lyrics, Google the lyrics, and then find out who sang it. Mm-hmm. Then I got to Queen sings it. And then I started listening to LimeWire?
Yeah.
I started downloading a bunch of songs and then going
Side
from
note,
there.
God bless the artists that included the lyrics in their like in the little slip
in the
in
CDs,
the albums.
yeah.
Okay, you were doing the Lord's work. Continue.
And so like that's how I got into Queen, and then I just went down like the whole, classic rock, and like just it's interesting how such small like events kind of build a music taste, a music personality. It's just something that you like. And I think it's just so different because I didn't know that about my dad. I didn't know my dad was into the Beatles like that.
Yeah.
And it's like I found my own way to the Beatles. Like I found my way to like absolutely love them. And Eleanor Rigby was one of those songs that it's like that song is what captured me and what threw me down like the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting finding that out now.
It goes to show that sometimes the journey, the paths that we take on our own, that journey brings us right back home to where we least expect it. What you said brought up an earlier point that I was getting to, was that as soon as I like connect with someone, it's like, what music do you listen to? I do it with the students, I do it with everyday people. Sometimes you get that answer like, oh, I don't really listen to music. And I ask myself, who are you? Like, how are you a human being that exists? Because like everybody listens to music, right? Sometimes people tell me, oh, I don't watch movies. You're a liar. You're a liar because you don't live like here in America in 2023 and tell me that you don't watch movies. Like, maybe it's not your biggest thing, but clearly music is all around us, everywhere.
No, so that music thing is wild. I've heard the movie thing, and I'm like, I get it. People don't have the attention span for movies nowadays. And it's like, all right, well, okay.
Yeah, but it's hard to avoid movies. Like,
oh, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you go. But it's like you end up on a date with friends or something. Like, no, but I get it.
People just don't go out of their way to like those type of people don't go out of their way to watch movies. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. But the music thing doesn't make sense to me. Like,
yeah, the music one. That's why.
That's why. Listening to audiobooks and podcasts like your entire life. Like you don't walk into the mall. You don't walk into like a store.
You haven't had that Drake and Josh moment.
Any person around you just doesn't listen to music either. You're just walking zombies.
Like, your parents don't.
You're
never taught you
this is
anything
what
to friends.
happens to like the generation that wasn't born with High School Musical and like Camp Rock. It's
You
like,
know, and that's past my time, and I didn't relate to that. But let me tell you, the amount of like, students were like High School Musical, High School Musical. I'm like, aren't you too young for High School Musical? It still resonates with them even now.
For me, like that's how it was for me. I was like in what, middle school, and they're talking about getting into high school, and I was just like, that was it for me. Like I don't know why. Like I just really grew into it, and that kind of like put me into like, I really enjoy it now, and like I know a lot of the songs, and it's one of those things where it's like for a long time I didn't really like say like I was like, you know, I was proud to like, you know, I love High School Musical, but
you're
it's
not an HSM guy. You weren't openly.
Yeah, I wasn't openly HSM, you know.
I
I
think that's a thing. I was like, put that on a t-shirt. All right.
But it was something like I'm enjoyed,
openly HSM.
and I think that's what I think that's what really got me like into like enjoying.
I'm into HSM.
Say it really fast.
that can be taken so many ways.
Liking musicals, you know.
Uh-huh.
And since then, like that's kind of been the story. I know Link hates his musicals.
Yeah, supposedly, and then he's always naming like movies that he likes that are musicals, and I'm like,
He sings Hamilton like every other
he's
day.
a poser. He's an anti. We can dump on him now that he's not here.
Yeah.
So that's
Can't
what it
defend
feels
himself.
like.
All to get back to the original point was this playlist.
Yes.
Well, actually, there was a show, right? Like Endless Playlist, Zoe's Endless. I don't know.
Oh, Nick and Nora's.
Nick and
Oh,
Nora's.
Nick and Nora's. That's the movie.
Yeah,
right?
that one's a great one.
But back to this Endless Playlist that you guys had. So the Beatles is like a founding thing for us. How many Beatles songs are you allowed to have on it? Like, is there a limit?
There is no limit. We didn't put any limits. We're just like whatever, you know, song you think we would like.
So give me
It
an
is
average.
infinite playlist.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
me an average. How many Beatles songs are on this playlist? How do you choose which ones make it, which ones don't?
I think I've put 4 Beatles songs.
Okay, that's respectable. I can.
But then you look at U2 and I put like 11 U2 songs.
Really?
Yeah, which I know that's, you know,
That is
a hot take for everyone who had iPhones back in like 2014.
Oh yeah, that's right. We don't stand for YouTube because of those two dudes shirtless on my device.
That was a son and daughter. It's not 2 dudes shirtless.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that just really puts into perspective that cover "Songs of Innocence," right? Is the name
Songs
the
of
album?
Innocence.
It's
Great songs.
Yeah, the title I think is stolen
with
from
2 dudes on the cover.
I thought it was 2 dudes. How is that a father and a daughter? Is that
No. It's the guitarist's son and the singer's daughter on the cover.
Together?
Yeah, together.
Romantically?
No. Just, I mean, holding hands. One has a helmet, I believe.
Oh, I think we're talking about different covers, man. That's not the one that was downloaded to my device.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, we're talking. Oh, my bad. That is Songs of Experience. Songs
That's right.
of Innocence is the drummer holding his son.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you, that is not what my boss at work thought it was.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
I remember.
It was just like on every device and like, what is happening?
Yeah, Apple had a
I'm glad that you're holding it up to
Yeah.
the camera so they can see.
for the viewers at
For
home.
those of you that were not,
For those of you that don't have it, go look at your iTunes.
Yeah, you
it's
have
probably
it.
on
It's
there.
down-
I think it was also
Not
the
traumatize-
most
Yeah, go ahead.
removed album on.
yeah, because it's not traumatized by the image, but traumatized by the way that it downloaded itself on every device that you owned.
I was so happy when I heard that.
Yeah.
Everyone else hated it.
And you also, no, I was happy that I got it, but I wasn't happy that it just kept showing up. Because also, you say most removed, it would come back after you removed it.
Oh, it would?
Yeah, it would for me. Like, because I removed it from everywhere, and it was just every time you like refresh, it was just go back in like into your library. And it was like you couldn't get rid of
I
it.
had to listen to it.
Yeah, well, I did. It was a good album though.
great.
It was a good album. But
So I have a lot of songs of that.
you think they have the most U2 on your playlist?
Yeah, I would say YouTube probably has the most because I have learned I connect with them on a very emotional level with the way the Edge, the guitarist, he builds soundscapes.
Not the professional wrestler.
No, not
They're
the
not the
professional.
same
They're not
person.
the same.
Not
Although
the
they get
shaving
confused.
So he's not Edge, isn't he? The Edge.
He's the Edge.
The
yeah,
Edge.
The Edge.
Isn't that like in New York or something?
The Edge.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? A
Like
nightclub?
where you like step over.
Oh.
You like step over and like a tilt. Well, that's a tilt. No, yeah, it's like the edge is like you step over and it's like you can see the city.
Every time
but
you step over the mic, they can't hear you.
yes, they can. You can still hear me.
You're
The mic is still
You're
here.
stepping
Okay.
over the edge.
You're stepping. You're on the edge of glory.
But it's like, yeah, you could step over and look down, and it's actually pretty terrifying. I haven't been there, but
I was about to say I haven't been there. You haven't
I
taken me.
kind of want to go there now.
Yeah, now we got to go to New York again. Thanks for nothing.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'm on her playlist. I'm around 720 songs in that I've listened to.
Mm-hmm.
These are two separate playlists.
Yeah. There's my playlist that I sent to her, which is 962, and hers that she sent to me, which is 886.
Did you got to like quit your job so you can get through this playlist, or
No, I just tend to
you have a
listen.
schedule?
I tend to listen to music every time that I can.
All right.
It's just
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So,
Like I said, I like language. I tend to talk every chance that I get.
800 songs.
but I've gotten to know a lot about the person by listening to all.
We should do it. We should do an S4M endless playlist.
Yeah, you should do Gabe's playlist or
No. We should just do.
I'm just gonna put dubstep on it.
Oh, forget it. This challenge is canceled.
He's like, I don't want anything.
I want trap music.
Jesus.
One of your favorite genres is video games, right?
Yeah.
Music plays an important role in many pop culture genres, specifically in video games. What insight do you have regarding like how music shapes the narratives in the stories that we interact with?
Well, that I feel like it gives life, because I did for a time do a little bit of that while I was in university, college.
Really?
Yeah. So I would work on the sound development part of it. And, like I can mention right now, I'm looking across over there to Mario. If I say Bowser's Castle, what do you think?
I don't know. Again, not
Yeah.
musically inclined, but yeah, the deep sounds. I have the pattern in my head. I can't express it verbally, but yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Star Power from Mario Kart.
They're like
Exactly. So it embeds with the memory. It helps you create
Yes.
that.
It's like what you
Is that the marimba?
Yeah, that's a marimba.
It's like I have songs that can transport me like to an elevator in a specific city in a specific year, and like or to a classroom, on one side of the table, either instructing or learning, or and with games it's the same thing. It's like
it just it helps, I guess, make it a core memory. Like you can relate to it not just visually or hearing the name, but also by sound. By just hearing that song is going to take you back. At least for me, when I had my Super Nintendo and I was playing Mario horribly,
right.
but it'll take me back to those days, and that's what I feel. Sometimes people overlook it when it comes to music, how much of an impact it can have, and just takes you back to that one moment.
Yeah. You said playing Mario horribly. Which Mario?
Oh God, well, I remember Mario 64. I don't remember what Mario. It was Mario Kart in the NES.
And the NES?
Yeah.
In the SNES?
SNES. Yeah.
SNES, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mario Kart. I always think about Super Mario World for Super Nintendo. I think that was the first game that was like mine, and I spent months playing that game. And now every year I beat it in like 5 hours, like with the shortcut path.
I need to come and try to do that, because I could never beat it.
Yeah, no. I play I think I said this. I play Super Mario World almost religiously yearly. Like if I haven't done it by the summer, I do it in the summer. Like it's one of my favorite games. And the music, a lot to do with it. Like those were when those themes were embedded. Like you asked me, the castle, like Flying Star, all of that. It's like I can picture the graphics in my mind if I hear the song, and I can hear the song.
X-Men
if I see the
87.
graphics. Yes.
That's a great theme. I think that everyone can relate to that one, and it takes you back to those childhood days. Probably Saturday cartoons, waking up, having breakfast, and just you're watching that. That's like the first thing that would come on.
I think themes also in general have such a profound impact, and everyone's is different. Everyone's individual. Like you said, like you think of a certain memory and like it pops up like whatever was happening with you at that specific time, and I find that so interesting because I mean, for you it's video games. For me, it's like it's movies.
Yeah.
TV shows now, but like it's mainly just like movies. I hear something so faint. Like when was it? Mandalorian. One of the episodes of Mandalorian in the new season.
Season 3.
Season 3. Yeah.
I don't know when this episode drops. We might be on 5.
Season 5. Yeah. They're basically it's these two ex-Empire I was gonna say students, ex-Empire employees,
Their employees. I don't know if they get paid. Are they in
Whatever
military service? Or?
ex-Empire, whatever, agents. And they're walking through the courtyard, and it's like you hear the faintest sound
Yes.
in the background, and I'm like, I know this. Where would I know this from? And it's the theme of the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's like on purpose, if that's like a thing in the universe, or that's just like, you know, cool little Easter egg. But it's like, it's so interesting how like you hear something and it resonates with you so much that it's like you can pick it out anywhere. It doesn't matter like the difference in like how they change it, like a cover or like or they play it differently. I think that's so interesting because it's like I hear something enough that it's like I will be able to recognize it anywhere. I heard like certain pieces of classical music that they have a rendition in. I'm playing Hogwarts right now. They have it like very low in the background, and I'm like, I know this. Where's this from? And it's like I'm like racking my brain trying to figure it out. And then once I find that, I'm like, oh, and it's such an appreciation because it's such a small little detail that people, like you said, overlook. They won't even pay attention. They won't pay a second thought to it. But it's like, if it means something to you, it'll mean everything to you.
Yeah.
Not only that, like, well, going to movies, you know, that scene in Endgame where it's like, oh man, you know, they're gonna lose before the portals pop up, and then immediately you hear a faint, you know, the intro of the Avengers playing, and you're like, oh, the good guys are coming, and then it before you even see it visually,
Even if you don't know it, your brain knows it.
Yeah.
Like you feel it, even if you're not thinking it.
it's such a triumphant thing where it makes you feel emotionally like, oh my gosh, something big is gonna happen, and it just prepares you for that.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, watching The Last of Us season 1 recently, and there was one point in an episode where they cut the music entirely, and it just builds this whole entire tension because I think they were going against the clickers.
Yeah.
And it just, the power that it had where it was like, okay, you can hear, you know, the atmosphere a little bit, and then it just goes completely quiet where you can only hear the clickers. That, like, that power, it just, you know, for me, I was watching it at home and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, something big is happening here.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people sometimes don't understand or realize how much soundtrack is in their life. Like you're watching a movie, a TV show,
No, for sure.
and the ambient, it's not even ambient, like the soundtrack, right? The score. People don't appreciate score enough because they're not associating musical moments with those emotions. But that's what's driving those.
Yeah, man. You take that out of the picture, it's not the same. And I'll give you an example between, like you said, Endgame and Rise of Skywalker, where they try to do a similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
Endgame, like you said, has that triumphant. And I'll never forget it. That's ingrained in my head. That'll always be in my head. That's like one of the best cinematic experiences I've had in my life.
Yeah.
And that's also partly because the music is so captivating, it's so powerful, and it's like it matches the moment.
And Rise of Skywalker is just as good.
Rise of Skywalker,
Oh, no,
they
not
have
what you were gonna
they
say.
have all the good guys coming in, all the ships, and it's gonna be like this huge epic battle. But the choice that they used for the song wasn't like this triumphant. Well, for me at least, wasn't this triumphant like epic like theme.
Is there a specific song they choose?
They try to do. There was one that I felt should have been in it, but they do a rendition of like one of the older themes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the moment doesn't match.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
there's a dissonance there.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't, like, to me, it just, this is supposed to be the super awesome moment. The music completely takes me out of it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because don't get me wrong, I like the song that they use, but in the moment that they use it just doesn't fit for me.
Yeah.
And it was a big miss. And it's like, obviously with the other things I didn't like about the movie, but.
Like when that Kanye song plays in Black Adam.
Oh yeah.
Is it Power?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that song.
Oh, you love that moment?
I love that moment. I love that song. I think that song elevated the movie. Okay.
It made it a 10 out of 10 for him.
Yeah.
Was it? They also put like Rolling Stones in that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Painted Black.
Painted Black.
That was a
Yeah,
weird
that was-
playlist. They had their endless playlist and they just had it on shuffle.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think specifically with film, I think because even in horror movies, like scary, like super tense, scary scenes, you put the mute button on. I'm not scared at all.
Right.
I'm not terrified at all. And I think like you said, it gets overlooked, but music and the score and the soundtrack and even the engineering of just like sounds in general in TV, in movies and things like that, in the visual medium, when the two combine, that's what makes it more impactful for, like, at least for me.
Yeah.
Because the combination of the two, it's so powerful. and how like you can convey certain messages, certain meanings by not just, you know, the power of music, but also by the power of film, by the power of the visual medium, is something extremely profound. And
like, imagine Guardians of the Galaxy without any of the music.
Yeah.
You know, I still, to this day, when I hear Fleetwood Mac's The Chain, I still think of the scene. Rocket and, you know, Peter Quill have just gotten into a fight, and now they have to like separate their own way.
To a point where I knew that song before, and now it's redefined that song for me. Like now that's it was like, oh, here's a good song. Okay, now here's this moment, and it's tied to it, and now it elevates it.
And it's like, I don't know what it is about, like once you're tying it to the moment, it can be elevated, because it's like I can hear something and I can like watch something and hear it, and that's like when I'm watching in the use of like the context of the movie or what they're putting it in, it's like, oh, that's a badass scene. Oh, that's a really cool song. And I'll go back and listen to, like, I'll like look up the song or listen to it by itself, and it's like, this is good, but it's not the same. The moment isn't the same.
And sometimes moments are tied together. Like going back to video games, I was playing It Takes Two, and you go into the tree and you're like fighting the wasps, and then they play Flight of the Bumblebees, and then I'm like, taking back piano class. I'm taking back Looney Tunes. I'm taking back to all these moments where these songs like just kind of appears, and it's like now there's a resurgence of emotions where me, the reader of the text, is now informing the moment in the game. And it's interesting that synergy between the music, the moment, and the person experiencing both.
You kind of mentioned Flight of the Bumblebee, and kind of reminded me of Flight of the Valkyrie. You hear that, and who do you expect?
Also in Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
I was going to go with Daniel Bryanson.
I was going to be Bryan Danielson. Yeah,
Bryan Danielson, my bad.
Yeah.
Where you know, in wrestling, that's another, you know, medium out there that we all enjoy, how much the music can make or break a character.
Absolutely. You know? And not to get on my soapbox about wrestling, but like producer Dan had never watched a wrestling
Get down from your soapbox.
Had never watched wrestling, and he didn't understand like, well, what is this about? So we took him to a show, and it was like, okay, it's a sporting event, but it's also like live theater, but it's also like a rock concert. You've got those moments where the music is driving it. And I think,
man, friggin' Judas?
Yeah, Judas.
Chris Jericho. Bro, every time, bar none, you could hate this guy. He could be like the biggest heel, and everyone was like sing his song. Everyone will stop everything they're doing and just belt this song, and it's like it literally is like a rock concert.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't imagine what it's like. I mean, obviously he's a musician. He gets concerts and stuff like that. But it's like every time he comes out, for everyone to just be singing that song, and then just immediately go back to booing you.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think the song is most over in that setting. He could get with his band and play it, and it won't get the reaction that him walking out to it does. And that's what it is, connecting a song, a theme to a moment and a feeling. And when that aligns, it's magical.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, I think, quickly going back to the movie thing. One of my favorite movies, Interstellar. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a good message, and the acting is great. But the music makes that movie. The music completely elevates that movie.
Talk about being on a soapbox. How many times do you bring up Interstellar?
14 if I need to.
Yeah, but that
the amount of times I saw
Hans Zimmer's Cornfield Chase.
Dude, like Stay.
Oh.
And it's just like, I don't know, the way that it conveys emotion. It's like I'm sure I'll go deeper in the deeper rabbit hole and later on. But what was the other one? Like Star Wars.
Yeah. Like
the theme of the Force, like Luke's theme. Like I'll hear that, and it's just like I get goosebumps every single time. And it's, I don't know, that, and was it Lord of the Rings? Those two, like Howard Shore, John Williams, and Hans Zimmer as like defined like scores for me in film. And I think that's what draws me to it. It's just like I know the big battle scene's coming up, and that theme's gonna come on, you know, and it just blows me away every time, because it's like, especially John Williams, man. John Williams is a genius.
Great.
Like how he can have like these epic set pieces, but also like the really intimate, like quiet songs like Leia's theme that, you know, really do convey the emotion of the film, convey the emotion of the character. And it's like, especially like, obviously these things are, you know, fiction, but it kind of like transcend the fiction in a sense where like you really just, it hits you harder, especially like when Carrie Fisher passed away, unfortunately. Like,
right.
And like anytime I would hear her theme or something like that like like it always just takes me out. And I guess it also has to do with, you know, how much a certain, like, you know, franchise means to you, a certain story means to you. So I think like that, I think is like, it hits different, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
What are some significant moments in music that have shaped your understanding or experience in the world of music?
Oh,
Somewhat.
Pivotal moments. Maybe they're moments outside of you, significant musical events, or maybe they're personal. Maybe there's something that you engage with or that you experience. What are some significant music events that shaped your understanding or experience?
well, I think a big one might have been Endgame, when, you know, everyone before the portals, how that collectively we were like, oh, what's gonna happen, and then the song comes on, and it just, everyone, that synergy that just happened at that moment, it's like, oh, this is gonna go a different direction, we're happy, we're all ecstatic and stuff like that. And also a Super Bowl, a halftime show. It was 2002, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't know entirely what had happened after, you know, 9/11. Yeah. Like
I was serious. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Like I was still young. I didn't fully grasp what it was.
See, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't place that for me. How old were you?
2001.
What year?
2002.
2002. You were
Probably
like
5 or 6.
I'm sorry,
You
that
were
the
like
sixth
6.
was going to be faster. Okay,
Yeah.
5 or 6.
5 or 6.
I was graduating high school, so
Yeah, so for you, it was
Yeah.
completely different. For me, it was just like I have no idea what happened. Like a plane hit a building. Okay, you know, I did that in Sim City quite a couple times. I'm sorry, that was.
yeah, that might be a little insensitive,
But
that's the mindset of
that
a
was
child,
that was
right?
my mindset. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess. But it didn't hit me until I saw the Super Bowl that year, 2002, and I saw U2, and they decided to do "Where the Streets Have No Name," and that I had not heard that song before. I was like, what is this weird soundscape? And then you see the names of the people that were lost scrolling behind him, and then he opens his jacket and it's the American flag. And for me, that was like, I didn't get it at that moment, but when I look back on it, I was like, I don't fully understand what you're saying or what you're doing, but I know that it's very impactful and it's making me feel like collectively connected to you.
Right. And that's what's true about the human experience. It's like, I don't really understand every moment that I'm in, but you can understand that it carries significance.
Yeah.
You know?
And then that was a very big one. And I think that's what kind of the music bug kind of bit me, but it didn't fully engage until later on in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I saw the power of music bringing everyone together.
That's not the Super Bowl I was thinking of.
The Super Bowl where you became a man?
No, I was thinking of the
Prince?
Justin Timberlake. That's what Janet Jackson one.
Oh, is that not the Super Bowl where you became a man?
No, because I didn't watch it. Like
Oh.
I did watch it when it happened, but I had no idea what was happening.
Because I don't know I don't know if there's people that are young enough to not remember that, the wardrobe malfunction.
I don't think many people, I kind of forgot about
right?
it.
It's kind of we've moved on, right? We do them on purpose now. But the wardrobe malfunction, Justin rips a part of her jacket to reveal,
Which was supposed to be part of it.
Yeah.
But I guess
I think it wasn't
it
supposed
clasped
to,
on
yeah,
to the other layer.
I think she was supposed to have something underneath, like it was supposed to be sheer, but it takes that layer off too.
I think it was the black part had to come off, and she had like a red bra underneath or something that was supposed to stay, but I guess it snagged together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
So-
it was planned.
It was planned to rip.
It was supposed to be a removal.
All right, JT, you get it off on that one.
But
But long story short, I think she still had a pasty on.
yeah,
right?
she still had a pasty.
And also they zoom out really quick. So the controversy about the moment was much more than the actual moment, because it was more like that's weird, what just happened thing. And then everyone was like, oh my goodness, we're gonna find them and ban them and everything. And that's when the moment transcends the music.
Yeah.
You don't even remember what songs did they play? Like,
Was it Justin Timberlake's or Janet Jackson?
No, it was Justin's, because it was, the line was, "I'm gonna get you naked by the end of the song." Boom.
Oh, I had even forgotten about what songs were performed.
So I guess I do remember.
Did you become a man to that?
You don't remember the music as much as you remember the moment.
Yeah.
What Super Bowl were you talking about?
That one.
Oh, okay, and that's why. Was that a significant?
No, it was just.
Oh,
I randomly different. You said like music moment. I don't know why. Like my mind just like
Nipplegate.
maybe trying to be funny or something like that. But then he mentioned Super Bowl. I'm like, is he gonna say the same
Yeah.
one? Oh my god.
I'll never forget that.
Music moment. That what?
Defined or informed your experience, like just a significant music moment. While you brainstorm that, going back to the Super Bowl, I remember there was one year that the Who performed, and I think it was after the Janet Jackson thing, because it was like, let's get the most boring act we can find, like the most like.
I think that was a couple years after, though.
Okay, it was a couple years after. Okay, but it was after.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that they went through a couple of different, like, let's just get rock bands that are not gonna take their clothes off or whatever. But I remember that Rock Band, the game, released their Super Bowl set before the Super Bowl. I think day of. It was day of. But I was like, how is this possible? And then that's when I learned, oh, they like record the Super Bowl performance ahead of time, and then they perform. Like, I think it's based on an audition.
The Iron Man helmet trying to get out.
I don't think. For those of you that can't hear, an Iron Man helmet is trying to escape the room, but I don't think that's gonna get picked up. Anyways, long story short, I got the song like moments after they had performed it. It was like, how is this possible? And then you kind of understand that more goes behind the production of music. Like, so much work goes into getting that song onto that soundtrack, into that moment, onto that game. And we don't really think about the hours and hours and hours of, for example, a single performance, the hours of practice that goes into it, one single product, the hours of production that goes into it. And it's beautiful when you have something that's long lasting, a final product, a song, a film, a game. But it's also beautiful when you don't have a performance that exists only in the moment and then is gone and only existed in that moment. And that's when I think music transcends the idea of product and becomes experience.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm going to sound a little bit boomery here,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like the cell phone has killed that experience in concert going.
Okay, and I agree, and I agree with you as a wannabe boomer, but I also agree with you as a wannabe like post-millennial. I mean, I'm a millennial, so I guess that applies to me as a millennial because I've let it do it to me. I've found myself caught up in those moments.
I've done that too, but then I'm like, I have to take myself away from it because it's like, okay, it's great. I can record it. I can look back at it. But looking back at it, it's like, did I really enjoy that moment? Yeah. Was I just like another camera for YouTube?
When do you go back and look at those videos?
And that's true. That's what I learned after the first time. I was like, I'm not going back. I should have been more present in the moment.
What is it? Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Strokes, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Thundercat.
That was great.
Yeah.
And like I told Link this, and I was like, I'm gonna try and like not take my phone. I'm not trying like not to record. Bro, I think Reptilia comes on. I'm like
holding your phone up.
And then that was the struggle because like there was a point in time when for concerts I would record all of it. I'd have the whole thing. Like my phone would die. That's how I'd stop after using my phone. But then I think for this one I was really like, man, I really do have to like put it away to actually enjoy being in the moment. Because I look back so many times. I'm like, when do I actually go back and look at those videos? Which is like, it's not a bad thing to have, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like I'm trying to capture this and put it in a bottle so I can have it for later, instead of really just being immersed in the experience of the now, being there and enjoying that moment with the people that I'm with. And if I'm not with anybody, I'm still with a bunch of other people collectively enjoying this moment in time. I mean, also depending on where you are, they could also be just high off their minds and that's all you smell. But for the most part, like it is, especially like that Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. It was, and that was a stadium concert, and it was loud.
It was.
But two of my favorite bands like you can't ask for it.
Thundercat.
Yeah,
and-
Thundercat
And Strokes. He didn't go
and
for
the
Chili
Miami
Peppers.
Dolphins.
He walked out before.
But it's like having to like, how do you like, how many times, unless aside from like a music festival,
Speaking
like
of Dolphins, wasn't Jason?
Dominican Jason, not Jason
Derulo?
Yeah, yeah.
Jason Tatum.
No, it's not Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum's a basketball player.
He's in the Ring of Honor. Jason.
The Ring of Honor.
Ring of-
Yeah,
The Hall of Fame.
that's what the Dolphins call their.
They're
their
called
Hall
the
of
Rings
Fame.
of Honor.
Yeah, the
Jason
Ring of
Taylor.
Honor.
Jason
Taylor. There
Oh.
we go. Yeah, Dominican Jason Taylor. Was
Dominican Jason Taylor. We thought it was him. I promise you, it looked just like him.
They literally walked up to a dude and they're like, "Are you him and Link?" Now this is a shout out for Link. "Are you Jason Taylor?" Link asks, and the man.
Well, because
answers.
we yelled, like he was walking, we're like Jason, and the guy like turned around.
Yeah, because you're yelling Jason into a crowd. Like
Jason!
he's afraid that there's a hockey
Specifically
mask
that guy.
killer on the loose.
So then Link goes up to me. He's like, "Are you Jason Taylor?" He's like, "No, I just look like him."
I
And
feel like
we're
he gets that a lot.
"Oh."
And I was like, Jason Taylor's been practicing his Dominican
Yeah.
accent. Nice try, Jason
That
Taylor.
was the Dominican accent. But I guess my music event was School of Rock.
Ooh.
Watching School of Rock. I think that was like the thing that sent me down a path to like exploring. Like aside from like that experience I had with like Queen or like the movies, it's like
Mm-hmm.
School of Rock introduced me to like a whole different brand of music. That it's like I actually ended up in like really enjoying and like actually ended up looking for myself. And it's like, yeah, like I was just it was just happened the other day. We're driving with a friend and he was singing I think it's Tom Jones that sings that song.
It's not unusual.
Huh? No, the other
That's
one.
what I was thinking of too. I was like, I'm not gonna guess
Or
what
maybe
title.
it's not Tom Jones.
What's its song? How does it go?
Damn, now
gotta
it's
give
not
me the
unusual.
Let's go with.
Can't
this
you
now.
see that I am not afraid? Ba-da-ba-da.
Isn't that the Doors?
Or maybe it is the
I
Doors.
thought it was the Doors.
Yeah, that's the Doors.
But it's like he was singing the regular version,
Mm-hmm.
and in my head I'm just like, can't you see? I was like, Lawrence is good at piano, because those are the lyrics that like Jack Black makes in the song.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like that's my
Dun, dun, dun,
that's
dun,
my like
dun,
reality
dun,
for
dun,
that song. I was like thinking it's it's not the Doors that sing. It's like it's that song that they sing in School of Rock.
Yeah. Man, you just unlocked the fact that I love the Doors and I like almost never listen to them.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Make a playlist.
I'll put all of them on the endless playlist.
Also, can we talk about how playlists are used?
How are playlists used? I don't know. I'm an old fogey.
I feel like, I mean, I guess it would be
I'm
like
not courting
mixtapes. It'd be like
anyone,
mixtapes.
Mixtapes
back
were
then.
awesome, and I don't think that playlists work in the same way. But I think I've only made one playlist for other people, and it was like my graduating senior class students. I was their sponsor for 4 years.
Mhm.
No, not even them. It wasn't even for my class. It was for the ones that were on my drama team throughout those 4 years. So those seniors that graduated, I made a playlist for them, and my goal was just to make them cry for like an hour and a half. I think the play was like an hour and a half, and it's just
An hour of Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On."
I've come to terms with the fact that I'm not great at making playlists. I know that I love music and I love a
That's
wide
how I went
variety of
over.
music.
That's how I won over my wife. I made burned CDs.
Maybe that's why.
Did you write them with the black marker?
Yeah, I
and
did.
everything?
I absolutely. I had a CD label maker,
Oh,
and then for like our 1 year anniversary, I like stamped it with pictures of us on the cover,
oh damn.
That's cute.
Yeah, that is good.
and then there was a volume 2, and then she agreed to marry me, and I just stopped doing that stuff. I should probably start again.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah. Anyways, you were saying,
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, playlists.
Playlists,
Like
yeah.
people just
how do they use them? Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times, like you send playlists. Obviously, it's like you get to show someone like a piece of yourself, like a side of yourself that maybe you didn't know. It's like you said, like understanding someone's music taste helps you understand who they are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially for people, obviously, like people just, I mean, who doesn't love music,
Yeah.
And I think that's a very like intimate and personal thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but I know for some people, like it is something very special. So if they make a playlist for you or they share a playlist with you, showing their favorite songs, like it's something that, means a lot to them. And it's like, I know it's not the same as like making a mixtape, going out of your way, burning onto a CD and actually like writing, giving it to them. But at the end of the day, like that's what we have now.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just like, it hit different.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
It's
of
definitely
course.
different. And
it's still great.
but also the way that you use it too is it's like, because for some people nowadays it's like they don't have that. They don't really know about that.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, it could be like how writing letters is now. It's like you don't really do that nowadays. Some people do.
Can I
Which
share
is
some of the
also-
songs from that playlist that
Yeah,
I made?
go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it starts with "Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen." Have you guys ever heard this? You should check that
No.
out. Check that out. Write that down.
Sounds like a VeggieTale song.
Just send me the playlist.
Okay, I'll send you the playlist. Right? And then I got
Detail
"Lost
song.
Stars" by Adam Levine.
That is a great song.
That is a great song.
Have you seen the movie?
Interesting.
Yes, I love that movie.
Oh, that's I actually put Lost Stars on the playlist.
Which version?
Both.
Okay, that's cheating. Come on, man.
What's
Like,
the movie?
settle on one. I said the movie is a Begin Again.
Begin Again, yeah.
I said on the Adam Levine one just because he has those sick vocals, like he hits those high notes. Like, because I think Keira
Is he in
Knightley's
that
version is
movie?
better.
Keira Knightley's version feels a little more intimate.
Intimate, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think. But just the vocal work on what he's in that movie, yeah.
Yeah,
He plays a super
douchey version.
no,
of,
super talented artist who sells out by making douchey music.
Are you sure it wasn't
So
an
it's-
autobiography?
Yeah, I really got that idea. Yeah. Okay. "Ode to My Family" by the Cranberries.
Cool.
That one's good.
"Two of Us" by the Beatles.
Mm.
"This Must Be the
That's-
Place" by Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm.
"What a Wonderful World" by Sam Cooke.
Hmm.
"Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard" Paul Simon. "Someday" The Strokes. "Wild World" by Cat Stevens. "The Great Beyond" by REM. "The Logical Song" by Supertramp. "Wonderwall" Oasis. "New" by Paul McCartney. "This Will Be Our Year" The Zombies. "Tonight Tonight" Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, that's great.
"Time to Say Goodbye" Sarah Brightman and Andrea Bocelli. "We're Gonna Be Friends" The White Stripes. "Celebrate" by Dirty Heads. And then "In My Life" by the Beatles. That's the playlist.
Wow, what a way to
You're
end that
mean.
playlist.
I'm
It's like
thinking about the
sad.
songs. I'm like, oh my god.
You know, I still remember, I think it was like 6th or 8th grade that we had to get a class song, and I tried to push "In My Life" so hard. Nobody was having it.
Actually, I had this. So the other idea was like, I love these songs and so many of them fit. Can I seed the idea of putting some of these in the class video for like my new senior class? We'll see if I remember to it. I should have started already.
You should have, yeah. I don't think you want me to go over my playlist.
No, because they have apparently 900 plus songs. That's crazy. We kind of covered musical controversy already. How do you stay current? How do you stay current with music today?
A lot of, I would say YouTube, Reddit, just, you know, because a lot of the newer bands are using that medium a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's this recent band I discovered. I know they've been on for a while, Polythia. And he, you know, the lead guitarist, Tim Henderson.
Yeah, I know him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Good friend of yours, right?
Yeah, we're close.
Well,
I think he's on the show.
Yeah.
He's coming up. Can't
coming.
get our schedules on the right.
well, we don't know when this is posting. so
Yeah, he might have already been on the
might have
show.
already been,
Correct.
yeah.
All right.
So he decides to put a lot of his like, you know, the music. He'll break it down and show like, oh, this is what I did production wise. This is what I'm playing, and it's super technical and all that stuff. So it's like, it makes you feel connected on a different level, like on a more intimate
Absolutely.
level. And that, you know, I love that. So YouTube has become a new, and a lot of reactors have turned me on to new music.
What does that mean?
So oh god,
Like people with reactions to?
yeah. So I don't know why it popped up on my feed. Somebody, you know, a couple years back was like, oh, you know, look at me listen to Bandmade, and I was like,
Really?
yeah. I
I'm
was
not aware of this. I'm guessing you.
You never seen reaction videos on?
like for
Like the
music?
trailers and stuff.
Yeah, but for music.
Yeah, for music.
So and they're just like, watch me listen to this.
Yeah, and you just get their reaction of it.
I remember I saw the who was it? It was a video like it's just this guy that you wouldn't expect to listen to a certain type of music start listening to the music
Mm.
and he's just like, oh yeah, and it's just like a genuine like, or it seems like a genuine like, oh, this is like I never would have expected this, and it's like a genuine reaction. I've like, until you said it, like I found myself watching a couple of those videos and I'm like, oh, this is actually really cool. Like it's just like
So interesting.
like either like an older person enjoying like, you know, like kind of younger people's music and stuff, or
Yeah.
younger people's music, but or music like that comes out
Right.
now.
Music has no age.
Exactly.
The new generation.
Exactly. Like stuff that you just wouldn't expect someone like them to listen to them. It's like, obviously don't judge a book by its cover, but we kind of still do that nowadays, like very minuscule versions of that. But like, and seeing that genuinely enjoy that type of music, think like of something like you didn't like know, but like seeing how music has an effect on somebody, that to me is like the charm of like watching stuff like that.
And you know, it also helps you discover new music.
Yeah.
Because like you know, I think it was I remember now, I was watching a vocal coach react or a musical breakdown of, you know, this song that I knew. I want to say it was probably REM's Losing My Religion. So that has no chorus, and I was like, oh, that's a weird thing. And then I saw he had a video of Bandmade and he was breaking down. I was like, what is Bandmade? It's like baby metal or something like that. I go into it.
I don't know what that was either.
I saw Baby Metal in front of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They opened for Chili Peppers the time before this time.
Rest in peace.
Baby Metal's dead?
Baby Metal's
No,
still
I just
touring.
didn't go.
Oh. Where were you?
Probably Guam.
Oh.
No,
I don't think so.
This was with what's his name? Klinghoffer.
What was the year?
2017.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay.
I missed
They
out
didn't
on
stop
that.
at Tennessee?
No,
Oh, it's a shame.
they went to the Miami-Dade Arena.
Oh, yeah,
What is the Miami-Dade Arena?
Whatever FTX was.
the AAA.
I'll call it AAA.
I still call it
but
AAA.
it's called the Miami-Dade Arena right now.
But yeah, so it just it helped me connect with the teacher first, because he had a lot of insight of the music and how it was composed, but also discover new music.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, I've kind of fallen down that path every once in a while, and it helps me discover new music, new trends, new, you know.
To me, it's so social now because like MTV used to drive. There's a new album, there's a new video, there's a new song, and I don't really get that stuff fed to me.
That was it. That's how I would how I would find new music would be like VH1 and MTV like playing their music videos in the mornings.
I still remember waking up at 6 a.m. and hearing Danny California, the dum, dum, da.
Never forget it.
Now it's more like somebody tells me that it's out, and then I have to go check it out.
Hey, Baby Metal has a new album.
Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go check out the new Baby Metal album. I only know "Gimme Chocolate."
That is a great
It
song.
was in Rock Band. One of my.
You introduced me to Baby
Oh,
Metal.
probably.
Really?
Yeah.
That listen to that. That's
Give me chocolate. That sounds familiar.
You didn't give me any context. You're just like, oh, you got to play this song. It's like super rocky on Rock Band. I was like, okay.
okay.
Give me chocolate. I was like, oh, that's a weird name. And then they start singing Japanese.
I've
Like,
definitely heard. Oh, Julian made me play this song.
Okay.
Julian and Danny, producer Dan.
Producer Dan.
wherever he is. You mentioned current trends. What are some current trends and emerging issues that you see in the music world?
Oh, that's gonna be a hot take here. Pop is getting very oversaturated, like pop music, with just basic, you know, the same formula going over and over.
That's
again.
crazy. Pop music relies on basic formula. That is a hot take. I haven't heard that ever. People usually uplift pop for its creative, innovative. No, I'm just kidding. You want to unpack that just a little bit more?
No, I don't unpop my pack figures. Did I say it the other way around?
Yes.
I don't unpop my pack figures.
Yeah.
I don't unpack my pop figures.
Okay.
There you go.
No, you don't unpop your. I hope not. That sounds
that's kind
disgusting.
of weird.
I don't unpop my
your
pack figures.
Just figures of
What could that possibly be? Pack of Pac?
a Pac, yeah. Tupac, X-Pac, just regular Pac.
Any Pacs.
Yeah, any Pacs.
The buffet Pac?
6-Pac. Okay. Oh yeah, the buffet Pac. Is that Pac or is it like POC? I never understood what the theme of that restaurant is.
I would say Pac, but maybe it is POC.
Okay.
But then also POC just doesn't sound.
You think the restaurant's like about people of color, or
It could be.
okay, maybe that is what it is. But back to the original question. So pop music is oversaturated with.
Yeah, the same 4 chords. You know, it's been, as I think it's been said over and over again. You know, Axis of Awesome, they were kind of a comedy band,
Yeah.
and they would release songs, and they're like, there's one song called 4 chords, and they would, you know, do all the popular songs. Ed Sheeran has gone on TV shows, and he's like, oh, I'll just play the same 4 chords, and you give me a song and watch, it's gonna fit perfectly.
Yeah,
well.
I thought a wise man once told me all you needed to do was learn 4 chords.
It was 3 chords in the truth.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's I feel like you know, especially in again boomer TikTok, you know, it's that quick snippet.
I love that just criticizing something makes you a boomer.
Just like, oh, that TikTok. But it's just made people's intrigue or wanting to figure out music or connection to music, just like, oh, it's just something I kind of listen to and it, it's happy. I love what Harry Styles has been doing recently, where he sticks with the formula a little bit, but he tries to branch out and involve different sounds, he tries to get creative.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it.
You should listen to it.
I can't say I've done a deep dive into Harry Styles. I think Harry Styles is a tremendously talented artist. And when we talk about that, it's like when I saw One Direction, I was like, these guys, like I saw them before they blew up big here.
Yeah.
They were already like fairly, obviously, how did I know about them? They were getting big over there. And I was like, these guys are going to be big. There's going to be big here. And
that guy that looks like Ron Weasley.
Exactly. I was like, this guy's the backbone. Because I said the same thing for Justin and NSYNC. I was like, NSYNC, everybody make fun of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. I was like, make fun of Backstreet Boys, but not NSYNC. These boys are talented. And this
that
Justin
curly
kid,
hair.
he's going places.
NSYNC is great.
Yeah.
NSYNC was great.
So that's what I'm saying. Like not pop, like pop bands. I'm always big into like, oh, these guys, like,
yeah.
No, Harry's great. Harry's
great.
really good.
Yeah.
And then, so I do see that as a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard of new genres and stuff like that. Polyphia, Animals as Leader, which is very instrumental, but it's very technical math rock. And I've heard a lot of people like getting into that because
Describe what that is.
Okay, so math rock is very.
Play us math rock.
Oh, I can't play math rock. Math rock is very technical in where it changes time signatures while, like it'll change it from one phrase to the next. So instead of playing a 4/4 beat, it'll probably go into 7/8, make it a little bit more complex.
And that works?
Yeah. Rush did it. Rush did it for years. All the prog rock bands have done it for years.
He passed away, didn't he?
Neil Peart, the professor.
Oh my goodness.
The guy who did the NHL hockey thing? What's that thing? That song's awesome. And I also only know about it because of Rock Band. Anyway.
So good.
So I do see a lot of resurgence on that. There's another subgenre called hyperpop and PC music.
Politically correct music?
No,
or
it's
personal computer music?
Personal computer music, where it's just
or people
very
of color music.
No, there's no O in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and sometimes they drop because the of or the is not really a.
That is true. Where it's just very. It kind of makes fun of itself. It doesn't take itself too serious. It is those upbeats, kind of like MIDI, kind of almost dubstep, what we grew up on. Just a lot more faster, and the lyrics don't make any sense.
The dubstep was a joke. I was never into it.
Nah, he's really into it. It's all over
his
playlist.
Loves, dude.
Check it out. It's like 900.
I remember high school,
songs.
he would always be like, yo, listen to this dubstep. He would give me acro music from Skrillex.
Yeah, his nickname is Dubstep.
Skrillex wasn't all bad.
See?
He was a trap lord.
They call him Dubstep Cowboy when he watches Yellowstone.
Not only.
Not only that.
That's very personality.
So I do see the younger generation also looking for that new, not sticking to the formula, not sticking to the four chords, trying to figure out different music and how to emotionally express themselves.
Yeah.
Give themselves a voice.
That's something. This has kind of always been like an endless cycle. Like music is getting stale, new innovation comes, and I think that's kind of like how industries and sometimes just generations work. But I think it's good. I think it's good that we evaluate, where we are. And there's always going to be someone on the other cusp. Like, for example, I went through this in the 90s. Music was stale, pop, blah, blah, blah. And then like grunge, it came in and it flipped that. And I think that always happens. And where music is always in flux, but there's always the next step and something that's constantly evolving.
Yeah. And it's great to see, I'm going to bring up Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
She's, besides being Gabriel's bias, she's very innovative in using nostalgia. Like if you listen to Future Nostalgia, that album has a lot of 80s synth bass, a lot of 80s synthwave and rock influenced into it, but it still gives it a fresh new take, which, not a lot of artists realize, or, some of them do, some of them. The great ones, God, what was that quote? Good artists are influenced or inspired by art. Mm-hmm. Great artists steal.
Right. Everything is a remix.
Exactly. And to be able to, take from things that have already happened, trends and all that stuff, and make it your own and give it a new life. That's amazing. And
okay. I think on that thought, I'm going to put you on the spot. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to steal from somebody. So
Oh no.
to play us out. Why don't you just pick up that guitar if it's still plugged in? It is still plugged in.
It's still plugged in.
All right.
It's been plugged in.
Just play us out. Play whatever you want. Don't do Star Wars because Dan wants that, unless you want to please him.
I don't.
You can do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
You're gonna be the last sound that our listeners hear.
That's a very.
I told you I was putting you on the spot. Also, my plumber's waiting for me to help him move a toilet downstairs. So you have to do it fast.
I think we also have to leave.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We got a big game or something.
Yeah.
In
right.
time.
Sure.
Somewhere where it is.
All right.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. The clock has struck 12. It's a metaphor. It's not.
No. I know. I'm just
okay.
trying to think of what I can play. That's I guess for Beatles here.
Till next time, keep searching.